Hey everyone, if you're studying to be an early childhood educator here in California, you're getting ready to do something incredibly important. You're going to be on the front lines, creating spaces where every single child can flourish. So today, we're going to dig into the legal bedrock that gives you the power to do just that, to build truly inclusive classrooms. Let's get into it. I think this quote from Norman Canuck is the perfect place to start because it just gets right to the heart of it all. This whole thing isn't about trying to fix kids or squeeze them into some pre-made mold. Nope. It's about seeing and searching for and celebrating the unique gifts every child already has. It's about creating a real, true sense of belonging.
So, here's the game plan. First, we're going to look at the big picture, the foundational civil rights that protect everybody. Then, we'll zoom in a bit on the specific right to an education. From there, we'll bring it right home to see what California's specific promise is. And finally, we'll get super practical and look at how you can take all these big ideas and turn them into actual everyday magic in your classroom.
Okay, let's start at the beginning, with the absolute foundation. This is the first and honestly, the broadest layer of protection we're going to talk about, the Americans with Disabilities Act, or as you'll always hear it, the ADA.
So what is the ADA really? Well, it's a huge federal civil rights law, and here's the number one thing to remember. It establishes that disability rights are civil rights, period. And for you, this is critical because child care centers are considered public accommodations. That means you literally cannot discriminate against a child just because they have a disability. It's against the law.
I really like how this is framed. For you, as a future educator, the ADA is your why. It's the deep, foundational, moral and legal reason we do this work. It's the bottom line that says every single child has a fundamental right to be there, in your classroom, in your community. It's not just a nice idea, it's their right.
And it's so important to remember that these rights have real teeth. If you or a family you're working with feels that a child's rights have been violated, it's not some crazy, complicated process to get help. It's actually designed to be pretty simple, a three-step process to make sure the promise of the ADA isn't just words on a page.
Okay, so we've laid the foundation with the ADA. Now, let's build the next level on top of that. We're moving from those broad civil rights to a law that is laser-focused on one thing: education. And that's the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA.
Let's break this down, because the key phrase is right there in the middle. A free, appropriate public education. That is the federal government's promise. It means every eligible child gets an education that's tailored to their specific needs, and it can't cost their family a dime. And that word appropriate is so powerful. It means the education has to be designed to actually benefit the child in a meaningful way.
So, how does this big promise actually work on the ground? Well, it works through these two documents. For the little ones, birth to 3, you have the IFSP, the Individualized Family Service Plan. Notice it says family. It's all about supporting the whole family. Then for kids 3 and up, it's the IEP, the Individualized Education Program. Think of these as the official game plans, the roadmaps for success. And guess what? You are a vital member of the team that creates them.
Okay, we've talked federal law. Now let's bring it right here, home to California. Because our state has its own really powerful commitment to residents with developmental disabilities. It's called the Lanterman Act.
So the Lanterman Act is basically California's system for making sure people get the actual, tangible support they need. It's not just about getting in the door. It's about providing the specific services, things like speech therapy or extra support in the classroom or help for the family that let people live fuller, more independent lives.
I think this is the perfect way to understand how all these laws fit together. If the ADA and IDA are these big national promises, the Lanterman Act is the delivery system. It's what creates the network of local, regional centers and services that brings those federal ideas right into our neighborhoods and, ultimately, right into your future classroom. All right, so we've covered the why. We have the legal framework, the moral imperative, but now for the fun part, the how. How do we actually take these laws and transform them into a classroom where every single child feels seen, valued, and knows, deep down, that they belong?
And this is where the Inclusion Works Handbook from the California Department of Education is going to become your absolute best friend. Seriously. The laws give us the structure, right? They're like the skeleton of the building. But this guide, this is the good stuff. It provides the strategies, the ideas, the flesh and blood that brings the whole thing to life.
So what's inside this amazing toolkit? Well, the handbook breaks it down into 8 common types of modifications. Think of these as your go-to strategies. We've got things like tweaking the environment, adapting materials, and using peers to help. This list is such a powerful and practical starting point that you can literally use it from day one. Let's look at just a few in action.
Take a look at this. This is peer support. You know, it's an amazing thing to watch, but sometimes the absolute best teachers in the room are the other kids. When you intentionally create opportunities for children to help each other, they become these incredible models, helpers, and of course, friends.
And here's another great one, materials adaptation. Look how focused this child is. Sometimes it's the simplest tweak, adding a chunky handle to a puzzle piece or putting bigger beads on a string. That makes all the difference. It can turn an I can't do it moment of frustration into an I did it moment of pure pride and independence.
And of course, there's you, adult support. Your role here is just, well, it's everything. Just like you see here, your direct, gentle, and really thoughtful guidance can be the key that unlocks the child's ability to join in and succeed. It's all about being tuned in and ready to help in just the right way.
So, there you have it. We've gone from these huge federal civil rights laws all the way down to the day-to-day magic in a California preschool sandbox. You have the legal foundation, you have the practical toolkit. So the only question left is the one right there on your screen. How will you use them to build your classroom of belonging?